So how is it going, everyone? Welcome to the League of Europe. We are here for Division 3 once again for another week, round 14 of the USA Grand Prix, which will also be live for this weekend as well. My name is Jake, in case you guys don't already know me for whatever reason, because I've done the majority of these by now. So, as I said, we're here for round 14 for the USA Grand Prix. And before we get into it, I'll go through a hot lap. It is done by Mr. QVR Campbell, who is in Division 2. Enjoy. So there you have it. That is the hot lap for the circuit of the America, as done by Mr. QVR Campbell, who ended up doing a 1:30.6 in that time trial. So thank you very much to him for sending that lap. You can always send over a lap to myself or just in the League of Europe Discord. You're all more than welcome to do so, and you will more than likely be featured on the stream as well with that hot lap. But now moving on into the qualifying, Ira Mike has actually said to me that it's going to be dry to inters, or said it in the chat, it will be dry to intermediates. So a lot of these guys are already out doing laps to try and get them done ASAP. Now, who is the furthest one along on their lap? I believe it is Norwich City, because they want to try and get these laps done ASAP before the rain ends up hitting. So we'll stick on board with the man in the Toro Rosso and see where he ends up going. In fact, Smiski's first one across the line does a 1:35.2. Norwich City ends up coming across the line doing a 1:33.5 on a set of the soft tyres. So let's have a look. Who is on what tyre? We've got Big W, who is on the mediums, who's actually changed his name as well, so nice done to him. Big E Doug has just come across the line doing a 32.4. We're at Ricardo TTV, a 33.0, so he slots himself into P2. What about Aledi, who is just stuck behind Norwich City? Nico has actually gone and done the fastest doing a 32.2, so good job to the man in the Red Bull. The Spaniard in the Red Bull, shall I say. Jasper has gone into slotting himself into P4, 33.3. Ghost slotting himself up ahead of Smitsky on the mediums, doing a 34.6. Big W goes up ahead of him, doing a 33.5 on the mediums. So decent time from Big W in the McLaren. Eleni makes a little bit of a mistake. He has rejoined. He has joined us again, I think, after a 4-race hiatus. So nice to see the man in pink back with us. But let's see who else we got on track. We've got Ivan Mike, who's just coming around the, I think that's like turns 17 and 18. Mr. Wooter slots himself up just behind his teammate in a P4. So nicely done from him. Sorry, Ricardo TV's a reserve, so I wouldn't say his teammate, but for this race, I'd say so. But here we go. Ivory Mike actually invalidates his lap, so he has to go once again. Cloudy Cloud slots himself up into P8, doing a 33.6. And is the rain started hitting yet already? At the moment, it hasn't. So these guys that are still doing their laps are carrying on. James, I think, invalidated his lap, so he's going straight into the pits, try and probably get out on another set of the softs once again and go straight back out so he avoids the rain. But who else have we got on laps? We've got MCR on a lap, Ibo on a lap on the hards. In fact, speaking of that, I just see his teammate just absolutely crashing into a board there. I think just trying to get out of the way of everybody else. But we'll stick on board with Adri as he comes across the line. He goes pole by 9 thousandths of a second ahead of his other Spaniard rival of Nico. So good job to Adri for chucking it on pole at the moment. But that can still be beaten. MCR, as I said, is on a lap currently, and I'm just trying to see if I can go on board with him. Ibo's actually gone up into P13, so good job from him. MCR, is he? Oh, no, he's still in the middle of his lap. My apologies on that one. I thought he was a lot closer for some reason. What about Heated? Heated's only just started his lap. What about Mike? In fact, he's only just up ahead of MCR, so he's coming around that long right-hander now. So where does he end up coming out? Goes very wide at turn 19. May have invalidated it from that lap, but he looks like he's still carrying on. What does Mike do as a time? A 33.7 on the set of the mediums. Still not the fastest at the moment, but it's still a decent time for a set of the mediums. Everybody else has already just made their way back into the pits, other than the guys who haven't actually set their laps yet, the likes of MCR, Breadbank. In fact, MCR's just gone and dipped into the pits. So what about Breadbank? Where is he? He's only just coming out of Sector 1. Where is Heated? Heated's actually now just coming down the long DRS straight, so Breadbank and Heated aren't exactly that far apart from each other. So we'll keep an eye on these two, keep an eye on to see who's going to end up coming out on top of that. And I've also just realised it's a full grid today, so D3 always keeping up them numbers. It's going well for them. But at the moment, as I said, just Heated and Breadbank. We'll stick on board with Heated because I believe he is the furthest one along, unless one of these other guys are going to be doing yet another lap. Ivo, if that is the case, dips into the pits. Smitsky has carried on doing other laps. Hasn't managed to improve on his 35.2. Iverbrun Mike, though, he doesn't look like he's going to be improving, so stick on board with Heated as he comes across the line, goes up into P4 doing a 32.9. Not a bad time from the man in the Toro Rosso. Now, the Breadbank, who's only just behind him, out of ERS Energy, what does he end up doing? He goes, in fact, slots ahead of Heated into P4, doing a 32.4. Good lap from the man in the Ferrari. But what I will do is, just whilst qualifying sort of dying down a little bit, in fact, I'll ride on board, make sure we sort of ride on board with Dave for a bit, because I know he's out on a lap at the moment. I think the only one, along with Educk, now out on a lap. So, yeah, we'll stick on board with the man in the Haas. But let's have a look at what we have got for the standings at the moment. If I am not wrong, I believe Adri is still in the lead. Where is... should really get the standings up before I decide to go through them. It'd be a lot easier. But let's have a look. So here we go. Yeah, Adri is still in the lead of the championship. He in fact extended his lead because of what happened in Britain last week. With James DNFing, Iverbrun Mike didn't actually start, and Educk managing to pick off, I think that's his second win of the season now. So Educk now starting to come into this championship battle, but was it too little too late for the man in the Racing Point? Because he's actually in P4 at the moment, but we'll get to him in a minute. So as I said, Adri currently in the lead on 174 points. Now, can Adri win this championship here? No, he can't. So the earliest that Adri can actually win the championship would be at Germany next week. So what he would need to do is, if he was to win at USA, James DNFs, Iverbrun Mike DNFs, and Educk DNFs. Who's in 5th? Is that MCR? MCR's in 5th and Big W in 6th. So if the top 5 all DNF and Adri wins the race, then Adri would only need to be in 2nd place at Germany to win the title there. At the moment, as it stands, as I said, Adri is on 174 points with James in 2nd, 126 points. With Ivan Mike in P3, joint with Edoc actually in P3, both on 122 points. Ivan Mike has found some form lately. With the 3 races that he has raced in Canada, Japan, and Austria, have finished on a podium. 2 of which is Austria and Japan, is where he's finished on the top step of the podium. Whereas in Canada, he finished in 3rd, and I believe no, that was not his first podium. His first podium was actually in Baku. So nicely done to him. Just riding on board with James, he goes into P8 doing a 33.3 on a set of the mediums, so decent time from the man in the Haas. And we'll have to keep an eye out just to see what he does end up doing in the later stages of qualifying. But good job to him. Didn't realise what Dave actually done. He didn't actually end up validating his lap, so he did end up invalidating that. We'll ride on board with MCR just because I know he's on a lap at the moment. He hasn't set a lap time yet. Him and Dave are the only 2 that have not set their laps. Oh, it's the race that's dry to Inters. Oh, I thought it was the actual qualifying session because it looks a bit sort of dark. So I thought it was going to be raining at the end of the qualifying session, but at the race, dry to Inters. Surprised a lot of people qualifying on the softs then. I thought more people would try to qualify on the mediums, try and take them to the rain. Interesting. But carrying on through the standings, as I said, Ivan, Mike and Edoc both drawn on points of 122. MCR not far behind them on 115 points, with Big W in 6th on 111 points. All the ones for Big W. Mr. Wuta is in P7 following that 2nd place finish at Britain. He manages to jump ahead of Heated. But he is on, Mr. Wuta is on 91 points with Heated on 87 points. Has had 3 DNFs in a row with 2 DNS, so did not start. So Heated has not scored any points in these past 5 races and is still in 8th place. So Heated is definitely looking to try and get some revenge for what had happened at a chaotic start to Britain last weekend. Nico is down in P9 on 80 points, with Aledi in 10th on 49 points. As I said, in fact, it was a 3-race hiatus that he's just come back from, so nice to see him back. Smitsky is in P11 on 48 points, so he can actually end up overtaking Aledi in the standings. With Ryan B in P12, who actually isn't here today. No, he is. I'm just being very blind. So yeah, Ryan B in 12th with 39 points. Frey in 13th, who actually isn't here today. I will definitely say that now he's not here. That's why Norwich City is in the Toro Rosso, but he is only on 38 points, so he's only a point behind Ryan B. So Ryan B looking to see if he can try and extend that gap from Frey, and maybe even try and catch up to the likes of Smitsky and Aledi. You got Wakursk, who's down in 14th, who also isn't here today, so Ricardo TV's taken over for him. Jasper's in 15th, who actually is here, so he can try and see if he can overtake Wakursk in the championship. Dave down in 16th with 26 points. Norwich City in 17th with 22. Good guy from the reserve driver, actually. He's only done 2. He's only managed to complete 2 races, one of which he ended up coming P8. No, is it P8? P7, sorry, in Canada. And ended up finishing in P2. P2 in Canada, P7 in Russia. My apologies, but it's DNF'd over the past 3 races, so he's looking for some redemption as well as Heated. Ghost Recon is in 18th with 21. Breadbank in 19th with 15 points. Ibo in 20th with 15 points as well. 12 points, my apologies. Ricardo TV in 21st with 12 points. And Car Cannon in 22nd on 9. Cloudy Cloud in 23rd with 3 points. Craigie is in 24th with 2 points. And still to yet to score a point is Yestin and, just Yestin. So, yeah, no worries. I'll be back in a minute. While we're doing that, so I will keep on board with Heated. Right, apologies about that there. I am back. I don't know. I just had to quickly just go sort something out. But we've only got a few guys left out doing some laps now. Adri is currently on a lap along with Nico. In fact, Nico's just about to come across the line. It says he's 4 tenths up, so 4 tenths up. That won't put him on pole, put him in P2. Does he end up doing that? In fact, he does go pole. 31.6 is the man in the Red Bull. So good job from Nico. And looking to see if he can actually find some form as well. Being down in P9 in the championship is something he definitely doesn't want to be. But just behind him, Mr. Wusa has just started his lap. He's currently in P4. So we'll look and keep an eye on him to see what he ends up doing for a lap. Now, Adri is on 0 ERS. So I wonder if he's just saving that up to go for another lap. Or if he's just going to be making his way into the pit stop. But let's have a look. Adri, yeah, so he's just gearing up to start a lap, so we'll keep an eye out on him. So we'll ride on board with Adri throughout the lap because again, I've just quickly got to go do something, so I'll be back. Right, apologies about that one. I just had to go and do something once again. But looking at the quali results, so Nico ended up staying on pole. So I think this is actually Nico's first pole position. So we'll keep an eye on him and see how he does. I'm assuming the guys in the top 10 all qualified on a set of the softs. Yep. And just having a look at the rest of the grid, MCR is going to be starting down on the hards. Interesting strategy. Ibo and Cloudy Cloud are the only other two, along with James, on the set of the mediums. The rest of the guys are all on soft compound tyre. So, let's have a look. The two lads that have been on form, both Educk and Ivor Brim Mike, are starting in P3 and P4, so that's a good... We'll keep an eye on them, because as I said, they've been in quite good form lately. And they want to try and maybe overtake James again, all the way down in P14. So they have the opportunity to try and overtake James and try and fight for this championship battle. But the man in the lead of the championship is currently in 6th place. Hopefully, we don't have another start like last week. I'm sure we won't. But as I said, with Adri being down in 6th place, he's directly behind Ivor Mike on the grid. And as I said, he's probably the one that, in fact, he's probably got to worry more about the two guys ahead of him rather than the guys that are behind him. So, as I said, we'll keep an eye on it. But with James being on the mediums as well, it's again something we'll also need to keep our eye out on. But as I said, definitely ones to watch. Jasper, I didn't realise, also made it into the top 10, so good job from him. Bredbank in 10th place as well. He's been doing quite well recently as well, so seeing him down in 10th is a bit of a shock, to say the least. But all these guys now just pulling up to the grid. Quite a few people have disqualified. Sorry, I can't get my words out. This is a home race for Ghost, so with him being in P12, he is already in the points. So let's see if he will keep it that way. But we now await the 5 red lights. And away we go. Big W looks like he's got a very good start compared to what Nico has gotten as well. Ivor Mike also up alongside Educk, managing to get past him. Adri going for the dive down the inside on the Toro Rosso and the Mercedes. Doesn't manage to get the place done. There was a Renault that's gone out wide. That was Smitsky that has managed to go out wide. James has already made himself up into P11, so already gained 3 places just off of turn 1. Ghost managing to go up 1 place as well, up into P11. Bredbank now dropping down behind. Ghost has been a spin. Bredbank has gone into the wall. I did not manage to catch that. All I just saw was a car flying into the wall, so unlucky from the Bredbank. But Smitsky now up in over P11, managing to get past Ghost Recon off the start. MCR has managed to make himself up into P13 when he started down in P18 on the grid. Ibo has dropping down places as well, so we'll keep an eye on Ibo. But the two Red Bulls are in battle. Nico and Ivor Mike both going side by side. Big W has already pulled out a 1.4 second lead from the pair of them. Educk also getting in this battle as well. We'll keep an eye on the man in the Red Bull of Ivor Mike, who's actually just let Nico go. But Educk now trying to challenge Nico. Educk now trying to challenge Nico up ahead. Doesn't manage to get the move done. Ivor Mike remains down in P4, but also side by side with Mr. Wooter. Heated only just slotted in behind these guys as well. Adri's managed to lose a place off the start. I think that was too heated as well. So. But it does end up going wide, going through turn, I think that's turn 14 or 15. But once again, we'll keep an eye out on him. A Big W, again, already pulling out that 1.5 second lead. So good job from him. James, already up into P10 as well. So, despite it being on a set of the mediums, James could be on for a really good result coming into the race. But keeping an eye on things here, Dave and Norwich City both going side by side. In fact, Norwich City makes his way into the pits, must have gotten himself some wing damage, and probably go on a set of the hards to try and see if he can take them to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Heated now down in P6, getting a bit of pressure from Adri, who's just behind him. Maybe to see if he can try and go for an overtake, not through the S's, but maybe coming up towards the long DRS straight. So once again, we'll have to keep an eye out on these guys. Just a little train still going currently, but we've got Ricciardo TV and Jasper both going side by side, going up the hill. Doesn't manage to get the move done, and Jasper remains out in P8. But you have got James, who is bearing down on these guys just behind him. Adri actually goes for a late lunge on Heated, down in towards turn 9, gets the move done, and is now up into P6. DRS has not been enabled yet, so Adri will keep that place unless he manages to get some whopping slipstream, which it does look like he is. Going towards the outside, Adri covers off the inside, going down towards, I think that is turn 10, they're making their way towards. Both still going about wheel to wheel, side by side. Heated for going around the outside. He will have the inside line and gets that move back on Adri. So good battling from the pair of them. I think Mr. Wuta also got past Ira Bryn Mike, so Mike looks like he struggled off the start of the race as well. Now down in the P5. The side spot starting down in P4. Mr. Wuta managing to get that place done and already pulled out a second gap as well. So Educk managing to pull a gap from him and Mr. Wuta. Mr. Wuta goes very wide at turn 19, however. So going to compromise on a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's done that much of an effect. And now DRS will be enabled, but not on this start finish straight. So when they go down the long hanger, I think that's just a long straight. We'll have to keep an eye out on who will get past, who will get the moves done. But meanwhile, James has managed to get past Ricciardo TV going out of turn 1. And Ghost, I think, is also trying to get a move done on Ricciardo TV. This is his home Grand Prix and has had to stay behind at the moment. But James gets himself a penalty, and that is a Red Bull S round. It's Ira Bryn Mike having that run of form down. He's had a spin. I think he must have had a collision with Mr. Wuta, and he's unfortunately spun, and that's also Ghost S round as well. And he smashed into MCR. Oh dear, it's gone from bad to worse for the Williams and for the Red Bull. But MCR yet again has now DNF from another race. Oh my goodness, what has just happened there? I don't even know what has happened, but Ricciardo TV now going for a move down on Heated. Goes down the inside, goes very late on the brakes, goes very wide, and that's now Heated back up into P8, doing the switchback on the man in the Mercedes. So good job from him getting that move done once again. James up into P7 on a set of the mediums. So he is doing very well, considering he started from, what, P14 on mediums? He is moving up this grid ever so quickly. And is now pressuring and is all over the back of Jasper. Educk sets the fastest lap of the race and is now back within that second gap of Big W. But James now with the DRS looking to go down the inside of Jasper, coming up towards turn 1. It is a long run up towards it, and it's a very deep corner. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, and James is now up into P6. Good job from him, good move from him. And now he's going to be chasing down his championship contender of Adri Lockdock up ahead. But as it stands, Educk will move up ahead of James in the championship, but James is absolutely soaring down on these guys up ahead of him. So he is in for a good chance of winning this race. But we'll keep an eye out just behind him, because we have got Aledi and Ricciardo TV, who are both, I think, going side by side through the S section. And Aledi manages to stay on top of it. But the top 3 already separated out by 2 seconds between 3rd and 4th. Well, Nico and Mr. Wuta. Redback picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. I get the feeling penalties will come into effect a lot throughout this, throughout the course of this race. May determine quite a few positions, so again, we'll have to keep an eye out on the penalties. But Smitsky and Heated both going side by side. This is for P8. I think Heated must have had a mistake coming out of that corner. Squeezes Smitsky off the track, and Smitsky's now also lost the place to Aledi. And a little bit of contact between Smitsky and Aledi. I think Smitsky just trying to get as much of a run in as possible for that hairpin, and has made contact with Aledi, and he has lost part of his wing, so he's going to have to try and make a pit stop now. Unfortunate for the man in yellow, and that's him now. He's going to be losing places quickly. Makes his way into the pits. So unlucky for Smitsky. But Heated, I saw this a minute ago. Heated and Aledi both going side by side, coming through turns 17 and 18, I think it was, and Heated managed to actually stay on top. But Aledi goes for the late lunge on the Toro Rosso. Heated goes for a switchback. He's loving these switchbacks so far in this race, but they're still side by side. Oh no, please boys, not through the S section, please. Oh, he thinks better of it. In fact, that's actually compromised him, and Ricciardo TV had to back off. Didn't know what he had to do. I don't think he actually made contact with him, so I don't think he has lost his wing. He hasn't, so that was a very close one, but he had to back off with that battle with Aleti, because side by side through there never works, I can tell you that for sure. But we have got this train now in P7, but a change for the leader of the race. Eduk has managed to go past Big W, going down the long hanger straight, and that is him now up into the lead of the race. Big W, he was already 1.5 seconds out on lap 1, and he's already lost out a lot of time. There's yellows in sector 1/sector 2. Is that the bread bank going round once again? I don't know, he's still carrying on. Is it Ghost or Dave? They're both side by side, however. Ghost in for P11, Dave in P12. Dave sticking it down the inside of Ghost, and that's him now up into P11. Ghost now down into 12th. He is still in the points at his home race, so once again, we'll have to keep an eye out on this one. But Eduk, as I said, good job from him. Now up into into the lead of the race. Big W will have that DRS, and Nico will also have that DRS on Big W, so Nico won't be able to get a move done on the McLaren as of yet. However, going into the hanger straight, Eduk is looking absolutely lightning going through it. And there's yellows in sector 3. Dave has gone into the pits, but who is that? Someone's dropped off drastically. I don't know who that was. Was that Smitsky? No, Smitsky already made his pit stop. He didn't actually change his wing. So Smitsky's going to be just straggling around without a wing on the set of the mediums. But he picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, just stuck on the back of Aleti. But just behind him, we've got Ricciardo TV and Ghost Recon. And they're looking very pressuring on the back of this Toro Rosso. In fact, I can see he's got wing damage. I didn't realise that. So I wonder if he got wing damage on the back of Aleti. But Heated won't have DRS. The two guys behind him will. So you've got to suspect that the pair of them will get behind, will go ahead of Heated. Heated moves to the inside, tries to break that DRS a bit, but stays on the inside line. Ricciardo TV now going side by side with Heated. Heated breaks very late going into the turn. Ghost also breaks very late, goes to the inside. I don't know if he actually hit the back of Ricciardo TV, but I can't see any wing damage on him. Ricciardo TV gets the move done on him. Heated breaks early. I don't think Ghost got any damage. I don't know if he actually hit the back of Heated either. I don't think so. It was very close behind him. And it's still keeping up that pressure on Ricciardo TV, however. But because of that missing wing, it's a bit difficult going through this S section, going through that long, tight, twisty right-hander, and that's now Heated down into 11th. So Heated, as I said, losing places, is dropping like flies. And now actually, Ricciardo TV is all over the back of Aleti. I didn't see this, so I don't know what happened with Aleti. He must have had a bit of a mistake to allow Ricciardo TV to be this close behind him. Interesting one. Again, another battle that we have to keep an eye out on. But we've got this battle for P5, Mr. Wooter and James. Now, as I said, James on the set of the mediums. These guys' softs will start to be going and start to be dropping now. So, James, I think, actually has gotten the best strategy out of all of this. With him being on mediums. Remember, I remember I did say there will be enters for the end of the race, so James may not actually have to make a pit stop until it gets to wet conditions. Now going down the inside of Mr. Wooter, coming up towards turn, I think it is turn 10, I can't remember what turn it is. Gets the move done on the long straight and into the hairpin, and that's him now up into P5. Someone is dropping places once again. I think that is Norwich City. He has got half a wing and is run very, very wide coming out of there. Gets a 3-second time penalty and just crashes himself into the wall. And is now out of the race. Ricciardo TV and Aleti both going side by side. However, and Ricciardo TV doesn't manage to get a move done on Aleti, but it looks to go for a switchback down in towards the hairpin. Will we get the move done on him? They're both still side by side. Aleti gives him the room, and they're still side by side going through this the long right-hander, but I think Aleti is going to keep the lead of that race. Although, however, Ricciardo TV going around the outside. Will we get this move done? Keeps the inside, and that, wow, what a move from the reserve Welshman to get that move done on Aleti. Is now up into P8. I don't know why I said the lead of the race, but what a move from Ricciardo TV. Ghost is all over the back of Aleti as well. Both have DRS, however, so I don't think Ghost is going to go for a move. Oh, well, I say that. How wrong was I? Ghost going for a move on Aledi. Aledi goes out very wide, breaks it. I just think broke a bit too late, and that's Ghost now up in the P8 as well. So him and Ricardo TV are just they're just making up so many places with each other. Once again, good driving from the pair of them. And I've just realised as well, Nico's actually gotten past Big W. I didn't actually manage to catch that, unfortunately. But now Adri and Big W both may go into battle here. Big W has got that DRS, but he's not got that slipstream what Adri has. Adri brakes late, going in towards turn 10, going in towards the hairpin, both still side by side, giving each other the room. Now Adri, he's got that yellow flashlight on, but because he has, he's underfueled the car, and I think that might be the better strategy to do with this one as well. Both going side by side now. Adri brakes late, goes for that lunge. Both still side by side, a little bit of contact with the pair of them. A bit of lag going on my screen because I can't see them actually hitting each other, but Big W looks like he's getting hit, so an odd one. But there's yellows in sector 2/3. Is that Ricardo TV? It doesn't look like it. I don't know who that is. I don't know if that was just the incident with Big W, but Adri makes his way into the pits now. So he is the first one out of the front runners to make this pit stop. So we'll have to keep an eye on where Adri comes out in relation to the rest of the guys in the field. Is he putting on a set of the mediums? He is. So again, we'll keep an eye out on the Spaniard in the Renault, our current championship leader. Mr. Wooters also actually followed him into the pits along with Ricardo TV. So Ghost, where is he going to come out? Is he going to be ahead of Adri? It does look like he will. Will Aledi be ahead of Adri, however? Both going to go side... Oh, no, going to go side by side. Aledi is well out ahead of him. I didn't even manage to catch that. So Adri now down, only lost 3 places in fairness, from that pit stop. And with the other guys still having to make their pits, James is already on the back of Big W. You can already see how much of a difference the mediums are compared to the soft tyres. Big W with no DRS. I think it might be curtains for him, and as James, DRS now open, gets in that dirty air, goes down the inside of Big W, and that is move done for James. He's now up into P3. Big W now down into P4. As I said, James is on for a cracking result, especially with him being up into P3 with all the carnage that has happened. As I said, Adri's already made that pit stop, but even with that pit stop, that isn't exactly going to matter as much as Aledi tries to keep the inside line. I think gets touched a little bit by Adri. Still both side by side. Aledi was given the space on the inside, but it just has to concede that place to Adri. Adri now up into P6. A bit of an aggressive move. I think Aledi was just trying to keep the inside line, but was just constantly moving to the inside. I think Adri wanted to try and take that inside line. Wasn't able to do so. But I don't know what happened with that touch of Aledi though. It was a bit of a strange one. But Edok and Big W now both make their way into the pit stop. Edok now out of his pit box. Where is Adri in relation to all of this? He's coming around the final corner. Edok is now out of his pit box and out of the pits. Where is Big W in relation to where Adri will be? Adri is just coming across the start-finish line. Where's Big W? Just coming out of the pits now. They're both going to be side by side. No, they won't. Adri will be ahead of Big W. So Adri's actually managed to jump Big W in the pits as well. And this is going from bad to worse for Big W. As Aledi is only just behind him. He is on a set of the softs. But you've got to think the guys on the softs now will probably have to make their pit stop relatively shortly. As in fact, Aledi is actually ahead of Mr. Wooter. I didn't realise that. So, again, another thing we'll have to keep our eye out on. But Adri now looking to see if he can go for a move on Ghost. Probably leading up towards the DRS straight. In fact, he's going to go for a move right now. Straight down the inside, and that is him up into P4, and he will have that DRS because the activation zone before that corner. So Adri with that DRS open, but Ghost will have the slipstream. Is he going to be gaining on him? Doesn't look as if he will. So Adri is going to be keeping that P4 and now going to try and chase down the likes of Edok and James. I've actually realised as well, Edok has managed to get out ahead of Adri by 5 seconds. But now Nico, our current race leader, is into the pits. We'll have to keep an eye out on where he comes out in relation to Edok, into relation to Adri as well. I think Edok was ahead of Nico coming out of it, but again, we'll keep an eye out on this one as here we go. Edok comes across the line. Nico is out of his pit box. Where are they going to be in relation to each other? I think Edok is already past him. What about Adri? He sets the fastest lap of the race. Where will he be in relation to his Spaniard? In fact, they're going to be side by side going in towards turn 1. Nico keeps the inside line, but Adri, I don't think gave him that space. Adri was entitled to that space, however, because of him coming out of that pit. But Nico now down in the P4, and Big W was looking to pressure him, but Big W's just had to stay behind the man in the Red Bull. Nico's actually managed to get the jump on the pair of them, but now Adri is in net P2. And Enoch is your net race leader, but James, remember, he started on the set of these mediums. He is hoping that this rain comes ASAP, so he doesn't have to make a pit stop for a set of slicks, for it to then come hammering down. But Mr. Wooter now all over the back of Ghost. We are going to be having, I think, a little DRS train just up ahead. Mr. Wooter going for a move now on the man whose home Grand Prix it is. Going down the inside of the Williams. I think that was easy move done, and that's him now up into P6. Big W, I think, was looking to go for a move on Nico just up ahead. Has had to remain behind him as well. So good job from Mr. Wooter for getting past. I think this top 6 is what it's showing at the moment. I think it'll probably be the top 6 of the race. But however, Ghost and Aledi still haven't made their pit stops as of yet. Jasper is all over the back of Aledi. So Jasper's could be on for a good result here. Could possibly go for P7, potentially P6, dependent on this rain. Eduk has just set himself the fastest lap of the race. Will Adri try and counter that fastest lap? Doesn't, and Eduk is now just running away with this. But Big W with the DRS now on Nico just has to stay behind him. He's not close enough to go for that lunge. And both of the guys on the last set of the softs have made their way into the pits. And I can tell you now, this battle for P4 will not calm. It won't stop. It will not calm down. So we'll stick on board with the pair of them. Where have Ghost and Aledi actually come out and related to the other guys? Ghost has actually come out in P12. So he's still on a set of the points, just come up behind his teammate Ibo, who actually hasn't made his pit stop yet either. And same with, in fact, Redbank came in on the first lap on a set of the mediums, so he's going to try and take those mediums to when it will be, when the rain will come. When it will come, I'm not got a clue. And Ricardo TV is just behind Heated as well on a set of the mediums. Heated's actually gone on a set of the hard, so he's relying on it not raining. Big W, I do apologise, I've got a bit of food in my mouth. I was actually managed to get past Nico. Big W now up into P4 ahead of the Spaniard. So Nico, who qualified on pole, is now down in P5. Not going well for the man in the Red Bull. It's not going well for Red Bull at all. And Smitsky's all over the back of the bread bank. Remember, Smitsky has got that wing damage, and he's actually making pressure on the Ferrari just up ahead of him. So Breadbank not looking too quick around here. Smitsky does go a bit wide coming through turn 18 and manages to actually hold it nicely through turn 19. He will have that DRS. So he will look to try and pressure Breadbank just up ahead of him. Big W's already pulled out that 1 second gap from Nico. So, well, is around that 1 second gap actually. Did Nico get any? No, he hasn't got any DRS. He was not on a straight at the moment. Smitsky has not been able to catch up to Breadbank and is going to have either Mike pressuring behind at any minute. But Ghost has actually managed to get past his teammate. I didn't realise that. So good job from Ghost to get past him. Did Nico get DRS? Didn't. So he's going to have to try and catch up to him just using his ERS. But Smitsky and either Mike now. Mike is now on the back of Smitsky. Both of these guys will have DRS. Smitsky with the DRS open on the Breadbank. In fact, he is gaining rapidly on him. Will we go for a move? Will we go for a move? No, he's not. He's definitely not close enough to go for a move. Although brakes very late and is all over the back of him. I think I also saw Heated and Ricardo TV go past Ibo. I'm going to stick on board with him because Ricardo TV and Heated both going side by side. Ricardo TV has to cut the corner a little bit, but has to stay behind the man in the Toro Rosso. So yeah, Ricardo TV just has to slot in behind. Ibo goes a little bit wide coming out of turn. I still don't know what time that is, to be honest with you. I think it was turn 15. or 16, sorry. Going through turn 19 now, into the final corner of turn 20. Ricciardo TV with the DRS on heated. Will he look to go for a move going down in towards turn 1? As I said, it's quite a bit of a long run up towards turn 1, but it doesn't look like Ricciardo TV is actually close enough to going for a move on the man in the Toro Rosso, and it's just going to have to slot in behind him at the moment. But this battle for P9 is definitely shaping up, because you've got likes of Smitsky and Ivan Mike. Smitsky, remember, with that wing damage, we're starting to drop off a bit from the bread bank, and with Mike on a fresh set of the, well, I say fresh set, he's on 10.5 mediums. Because of what happened at the beginning of the race, he's now all over the back of the man in the Renault. Will we go for the move going towards before the DRS straight? He is on his inside, and that is Mike up into P9. Although Smitsky's actually managed to hold that, so he's gotten a bit of traction coming out of that corner. But Ivan Mike is not going to give up this one. They're both going side by side now. Who will get that done? I think Ivan Mike just holds that. Smitsky has got the DRS, but not able to get anything done. And Mike now up into P9. Good job from him to get past him. But now we've got Ricciardo TV and heated once again going into battle. Ricciardo TV now down the inside of the man in the Toro Rosso. They're still side by side of each other. Ricciardo TV runs off into the grass. I think got on the power a bit too early, and heated now keeps that P12. I have just seen Andrew has set the fastest lap of the race. James is really hoping for this rain to be arriving anytime soon. He's only now 4 seconds ahead of Educ, who is gaining on him quite quickly. Meanwhile, we have Ivor Brim Mike, who is catching up to the back of the bread bank now as well. He's going to try and do what Smitsky couldn't do because of his wing damage. And Ghost is also catching up to the back of the Renault as well. So once again, another battle we're going to have to try and keep our eye on. But Ryan B just picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. I didn't realise he's actually on a set that hard, so he's going to the end of the race unless it does rain. Ivan Mike does have that DRS on the bread bank, and he's within 8 tenths. So will he look to go for a move? Because this is quite a long straight as well. It doesn't look like bread bank's running very high wings. It's running very high wings. He is, sorry. But Mike doesn't opt to go for a move. He's just going to have to stay behind him, but is now closer than ever to try and get a move done on the Ferrari. Meanwhile, keeping you updated on that gap for the lead. Enoch has now brought that down to 3.6 seconds, so he is absolutely soaring on James. But we'll keep on board with Ivor Brim Mike as we're coming through the final corner. He picks himself up yet another 3-second time penalty. And now with DRS enabled for Ivor Brim Mike, will he look to go for a move down in turn 1? Definitely not close enough. He just has to stay behind him at the moment. But Bang, it looked like he went quite wide at turn 1, which has compromised him. And now Mike, as I said, is closer than ever to getting a move done on the Ferrari. Said looks like he's just going to have to stick behind him at the moment and won't be able to go for a move. But going down the long straight, I think is where he will move off. Oh, in fact, Bredbank has actually gone very wide going out of that corner. Ivan might try to take advantage of it, tries to go down the inside, not able to do so. Bredbank does get a better traction out of that corner, but with that DRS and slipstream, Ivan might surely looks to go for a move down the inside now of the Bredbank. Gets that move done. Will Smitsky ought to go for a move? No, he actually gets overtaken by Ghost. So Ghost now up into P10. Smitsky breaks very late. He has a taps Ghost in the back. And Smitsky just backs off just to say, just to apologise for what he done to Ghost. Heated in the background, stays up ahead of Ricciardo TV. Bredbank was looking to see if he can go for a move. Maybe go for a switchback on either Brim Mike. Does get that better traction out of that corner, but has to slot behind the man in the Red Bull. Mike now up into P8. Good job from him. Now, this battle for first is now starting to shape up. James is really hoping that this rain arrives. I'm not going to go on board with him because he has got that sound glitch, or the rev glitch, so Edok is closing up on him exponentially. Smitsky makes his way into the pits. Probably to change his wing, go on another set of the mediums. But James has got to come into the pits. He's got to come into the pits soon. Otherwise, he's going to risk out getting a puncture at this point. He's now taking these mediums 16 laps. But here we go. Edok now only 1.5 seconds behind James. And that gap is closing down quickly. In fact, is he now within that DRS range? It's very close. He's within DRS range. Has he got the DRS though? Was he over the activation zone? I don't think he was. He wasn't. So, Edok is now going to have to wait until we go down the long straight to go for a move on the man on the house. Or if he gets it done before, it's entirely up to him. But James, you can see he looks like he's struggling majorly now on these tyres. He's only 4 tenths behind him now. So yeah, James, under pressure from our current, he will now be our net race leader. And as you just saw in the background, there is Adri. James hanging on at the moment. I don't know what his wings are looking like, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get it done. Here we go. Edok now with that DRS open. He had a little bit of a wobble coming out of that corner as well, so it may have compromised him to get this move done on the man in the house. Will stick on board with Edok as James goes to the inside. Now, Edok brakes very late going around the outside of James. James gives him a bit of a squeeze, but they're still side by side going through this corner. James holds on to that lead of the race. So good defensive move from the man in the house, but it doesn't look like it's over yet, as I think Edok is going to want to try and go for a move. Going in towards that hairpin. No, he does not able to, and it's just having to stick behind the Haas at the moment. This is all allowing Adri just to try and play catch up to Edok. James is probably Adri's best friend at the moment, trying to hold Edok up. Does have a bit of a lock-up going in towards turn 19, however, and still doesn't come into the pits. Edok had to brake, tried to brake late, or try to brake at his normal braking point. Compromised his run massively because of James braking early due to his tyres as well. And yeah, now Edok has lost out quite a bit of a margin to James. And again, look at how close Adri's now getting to him. He was 4.3 seconds in the last lap. It's now 2.6. And there you see Big W as well going through the S section. Big W's already actually made 4 seconds up from Nico. Speaking of that, he picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. It's not good for Nico. Again, he started on pole. I don't know what's actually happened with him. But here we go. I think this is where we're going to see it. Edok now will ride on board with the man in the racing point. Will he go for this move on the man in the Haas just up ahead of him? It's technically Haas's home Grand Prix as well. James goes to the inside, sticks to the inside line. Edok now going towards the outside. James brakes late as well. Both broke very late coming out of that corner, but James manages to brake in time and holds that inside line. James is doing some cracking defending at the moment, but makes a bit of a mistake coming out of that corner. Edok now trying to take advantage of that mistake, not able to stick it, that move done. And that is now, James still holds that lead of the race, but for how long? Because his tyres are starting to go off majorly. You can see him sliding a little bit just from Edok's point of view. But I think that rain is going to start to come down very shortly. It's looking a bit grey in the sky. Here we go. Edok has got that DRS on James once again. Will James want to go down and keep an inside line? He doesn't. Locks up a bit going in towards turn 1. He's taken these tyres now 19 laps. It will be 20 laps. Ghost has managed to get past Ivor Brim Mike. So good move from the man in the Williams going through that. I think it was going down into that hairpin. So good move from him. Edok picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, so this is going to be interesting for the lead of the race. Adri might actually be your net race leader. I don't know if Adri's got himself a penalty as of yet. But here we go, Edok now side by side with James. Oh, it's a bit of a dodgy one to try and go side by side through there. And Eduk's just having to stay behind James. Bit of a slide going as well, going through there as well. And there is the rain. The rain has now started. James is now going to hope that this gets very wet very quickly. But Eduk with that DRS now on James. Will James try to cover that inside line? Once again, he's been doing some cracking defending from there. He doesn't cover that off, but Eduk not close enough, and is just going to have to slot in behind James once again. With that rain now coming down, this is playing into James's hands massively. Will he opt to stay up ahead of who is that? I'll probably say James is now currently our net race leader. Because of this rain, but as I said, James is very close to probably suffering from a puncture at this point. Is he staying? He's staying out once again. But Eduk is all over the back of James this time, and now through to the final corner with that DRS open. Is James now going to be a sitting duck for the man in the racing point? He covers off that inside going towards turn one. Eduk does brake late, tries to hold down the outside, tries for a switchback actually on the Haas, and still no move done. So James, again, as I said, doing some cracking defending for the lead of the race. As I said, he is hoping for this rain to start chucking down quickly. Oh, I think Eduk actually made a little bit of a mistake. I think he wanted to try and go for a move on James going through that S section. Well, James made a bit of a mistake. Eduk tried to go for that, compromised it, and does not get that move done. And again, it's just had to slot behind him. But now we have got this three-way battle for the lead of the race. Adri is now involved within this battle. Please don't tell me we're going to see three wide. Eduk is actually closer than ever to try and get a move done on James. James covering off that inside. I don't know if there's much more that James can do going down this time. And James has to settle for P2. Adri now is looking to see if he can try and battle these two title contenders up ahead of him. But he's got to get past James first. James breaks very late going into that corner. Has a... And Eduk already gaining a lot of time from him. Adri lunges one up the inside of the Haas. Bit of contact between the pair of them. And Adri still not able to get a move done. James already losing a second out to Eduk. And Adri's going to have to be careful with James up ahead of him. James actually opts to go in the pits, so he's going now on a set of the inters. Well, I'm assuming he's going on the set of the inters. But that's now released Adri to try and see if he can keep up with Eduk and try and catch him. Here we go, James. He is going on a set of the inters. So we'll keep an eye on James to see if those inters will be quicker. And James looks like he's already really struggling on these sets of inters. But we have got this battle going down for P14. It is Dave and the Breadbank. Both side by side. Breadbank has actually come on for a fresh set of softs, and I did see he put the fastest lap in. Now looking to go around the outside of Dave, going through this tight and twisty right-hander section. Will he do what Ricardo TV done to Heated? They're still side by side. I think a little bit of contact, but Breadbank now up into P14. Good job from him. And in fact, now these guys are now starting to come into the pits. Has James actually called this right? There's a couple other guys now into the pits as well. I think James has called this right. However, it doesn't show he's actually gaining on these guys. He is still losing time to him. So it's a bit of a strange one, but Mike now all over the back of Ghost Recon. Eduk has actually managed to pull that gap from Adri now up to 1.3 seconds. But with Mike DRS open now on Ghost Recon. Still not able to get past the man's home Grand Prix. Eduk is now made his way into the pits. Has Adri actually followed into the pits? It doesn't look as if he has. So Adri's actually opted to stay out. Big W's opted to stay out. As Nico? Nico stayed out. Mr. Woot has stayed out. I wonder if this is bad news for Eduk. Because James is losing time. Jasper's also gotten past him. So we got Eduk now has emerged out of the pits. And Cloudy Car's also stuck on a set of the inters. It still hasn't told me DRS has been disabled. But James now I think, closing back of Jasper. Whereas, I don't know, it's sort of hanging around that same gap. Oh no, it's still not Inter's weather as of yet. Edok is losing time to the guys up ahead of him. It still isn't Inter's as of yet. But Mr. Wuta has got the DRS on Nico. Could Mr. Wuta look to try and get himself yet another podium? Keeping an eye on that gap between them. No, it's still not able to get a move done. James has lost out 4 seconds to Jasper, so it is not Inter's weather as of yet, but these guys are all coming in to put on their sets of tyres. Has Brett Banks just put on a set of the hards? No, he's just gone on a set of the Inters. Dave on Inters, is he changing his tyres? Keep an eye out on that. There's yellows that were sector 1 and sector 2. That's Dave, that's actually out of the race. He's coming to retire in the pits. So unfortunate for Dave. There's Adri now just about to lap the bread bank. As Adri now gets past him. Luckily, there is coasting on lap carts now, because otherwise Breadbank would have absolutely punted Adri for that lead of the race. But here we go. Edok now coming around the final corner. Where is Nico? Has Edok actually got past Nico? Edok has got past Nico. So I think now is the transition into Inter's weather. As Jasper and Nico are both side by side. Nico holds up ahead of Jasper. So Nico remains in P5. Is it Inter's weather? I don't think it's the Inter's weather. As Claudicado's just spun through the S section. I don't know. I think it is now changing to Inter's. I think it's Inter's. I'm just keeping an eye on the gap. James is now catching up to Jasper. Edok has got himself another 3-second time penalty. Is yellow's in sector 2? Who would that be? Don't tell me it's one of the leaders, is it? Is it Mr. Wuta? I think it was Mr. Wuta. I think Mr. Wuta just had a spin. But there we go, Adri now, our race leader, is now into the pits. Big W has followed him into the pits. Where will Edok be in relation to all of these guys? Mr. Wu, I think I'm going to assume is also going to make his way into the pits as well. So we'll have to keep an eye out on all of these guys. He does make his way into the pits. But there you go, Adri has jumped Big W in the pits. Where's Edok? He's only coming around the final corner, so Adri will be your race leader. Big W will be in second. And I think Edok will be third, as Mr. Woot has actually had to get some tyres changed. It took him a while to get all this stuff done though. Bit of an odd one. But James is now up into 5th place. Jasper's made his way into the pits. I think he's going to come up comfortably in P7. He's 28 seconds ahead of Ghost. In fact, Ghost is only coming around the final corner. It might be a close. No, it's not going to be a close one. Jasper will come out in P7, so good job from him. And as I said, Adri is now your race leader, despite James starting on a set of the mediums to go to the rain. Ricardo TV is in the wall. I don't think he's actually gotten any wing damage, which is a good sign. I think he's just had a spin, so unfortunate for him. And I think DRS has been disabled because Big W has not got any on Adri. So if it has, I didn't see it. But Big W is looking very feisty in the wet. But I did see he picked up a 3-second time penalty. As it stands, I don't think Adri has a penalty. I didn't see him get a penalty. So again, it's something we just have to keep our eye on. I mean, we may have a battle with Ricardo TV and Ivor Bryn Mike. Again, keep an eye out on that one. But this battle for the lead is where it is really is at. Big W is all over the back of Adri. He's going to have to get it done the hard way. As I said, there won't be any DRS. Just the slipstream. But Adri looks like he got a better turning out of the final corner. We have only got 3 laps to go. Will Adri be able to hold on to this? Oh, Adri just cutting that corner there. As I said, I don't know the penalty situation. All I know is Big W has a penalty, Eduk has 2, and Nico has 1. So Nico might actually end up being on the podium. As I say, that Adri does pick a 3-second time penalty up. So this has now got to be done on track. So Big W is going to look to see if he can get past Adri ASAP. Both are on very high ERS. James picks himself up a 3-second time penalty as well. Big W is in overtake. Adri is in hot lap. Both are not yielding. Aledi picks himself up a 10-second time penalty. I think must have just gone off of the track or something. And Adri is staying out ahead. I haven't really read the chat this much this race. We'll go through our chat now. So we've got Mark in the chat, Bones in the chat, Wakursk in the chat. Hello, Wakursk. Jesse in the chat for Jasper Hype. He's doing quite well actually in P7. As there's yellows in sector 3, I think that was Ryan B making his way into the pits. He's just got himself a 3-second time penalty. Oh, no, Redback making his way into the pits. Right, gotcha. And just retired from the session, so unfortunate for him. Who else we got in the chat? We've got Dave in the chat. I'll watch the last few laps, sign a few autographs for Haas fans. Yep, why not? Don't blame you whatsoever. But Adri has almost pulled that gap out from Big W. Almost a second. Although I think Adri must have made a bit of a mistake because Big W is now just all of a sudden gained that time. But not to the point where it's actually going to be effective as badly. We're on the final 2 laps of the race, and as it stands, Adri somehow is now in the lead of the race. He has done very well again where he is at the moment. Same with James, to be fair. Started down in P14, is now up into P5. As I said, this battle for the lead is where it really is at. Jasper's just picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, but it doesn't look like that'll be affected as much because I know Ghost has a penalty as well. So Jasper looks like he'll be finishing in P7. I think this might actually be the order unless someone makes a mistake, kind of like what Adri's just done as he's going wide at that at those right-hander sections. Big W's cranked it into hot lap, so he is going to be using that hot lap until the end of the race, and this is all bringing him closer and closer to Adri. As we are now on the final lap of the race. And Big W is gaining on him like a hawk. Not going for a move down in towards turn 1. Adri on 0 ERS still. He might want to crank that up in a hot lap if he wants any chance of still winning this race. Because if Big W overtakes him, I can tell you now it's not going to be easy to get past him. But I can also tell you now it's not going to be easy to get past Adri. Ibo just picks himself up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But this battle for the lead, as I said, this is where it really is at. Will Adri retain this lead of the race? Will Big W go for an absolute lunge and go for a move on Adri? There's yellows in sector 1 and sector 2. I'm not too sure who that is. I think it might be Cloud. It might be Cloudy Cloud. It might be. I'm not too sure. But Adri looked like he got a very good run coming out of that hairpin. And got a much better traction than what Big W did. But Big W is gaining on him on the straight, so he must be running a bit lower wings than what Adri is. Still has not gotten a move done, and Adri's still currently in the race lead. Will he hold this though? Oh, Big W going for a lunge down the inside of Adri. Oh, he's punted Adri. They're both spun. Oh no! Oh no! Enoch, he might be on for this now. Adri's just joined the track. Safe. Oh no! Adri's round. And Enoch's round. Oh my god! What has happened here? Big W is going to win the race because of that. Or would it be Nico? It's Big W. Big W has won the race. Oh my god. Last lap drama at its finest. He might actually lose a place out to James. James. No, he doesn't. James finishes in P5. Mr. Wooter, he goes up to P4. Oh my god. I'm speechless about that. Wow. That was a very dramatic ending to that race. But we've got Ryan Beat and Heated both going side by side now. Going through the final corner. Will Ryan end up finishing ahead of Heated? They're both going side by side towards the line. Heated finishes ahead of Ryan. Ryan did have that extra penalty, but on track, it's always good to finish ahead of him anyway. So good job from that. Smirsky comes home to finish P11. I think either of them will pick up the final points position. Aledi's actually just been spun by Ricardo TV. And Aledi finishes down in P14. Ibrahim did manage to pick up that final points finish. I'm speechless after that. Wow. So Big W has won the race. I think there will be, definitely will be some stewards inquiries after that. But for now, congrats to him for winning the race. With Nico, I think this is his first podium, or his second podium. I'm going to have a double check before I do say for definite. Oh no, it's not. This is third podium, fourth podium even, in P2, and that is his best finishing position so far. But as said, with the stewards inquiries that will more than likely take place, Nico may become that race winner. So I won't say anything yet, but once again, congrats to Big W for winning the race. Bit of a controversial win, if I must say so myself, but Nico finishing in P2 with Adri finishing in third. It was unlucky. It was a great drive from him, but because of what happened at the end, there's nothing that he could really have done. Same with Eduk as well, but Mr. Wooter finishing in P4 with Eduk finishing in P5 again. But the pair of them, Adri and Eduk, both having an exceptional drive. James in 6th with Jasper in 7th, Ghost in 8th, Heated in 9th, Ryan B in 10th, Smirsky in 11th with Ivory Mike riding up the last points position, along with Ricardo TV, Aledi in P14, who was our final finisher, along with Cloud and Ibo, who were both lapped, and our non-finishers were the Brevbank, Dave. I can't remember who the other guys were that didn't end up finishing in the end, but it was unfortunate for that. I think Nico will take the win for that because that was a bit controversial. But again, we'll just have to wait until see what the stewards will say. Thank you guys for watching that. That was a very hectic last lap. It was a very fun race to watch. Division 1 is currently going on at the moment, which is being commentated by none other than James, as always. And Division 2 will be starting in about 10 minutes' time. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next week for the German Grand Prix. Take it easy.